皆さんこんばんは、暑い中お越しいただいてありがとうございます。これから、モレスキンディトアの、トークショーを、行いますが、とりあえず、手元の、同時通訳の機械なんですけど、チャンネル2、チャンネル2番に、英語から日本語の、和訳が入ります。で、これからのトークショーが英語になりますので、よろしくお願いします。ちなみに私、モレスキンジャパンのニキです。よろしくお願いします。どうもです。と、トークショーの前に、ミニスター・スカービー様、このイタリアパビリオンの、デピューティーコミッショナーから、一言お願いしたいんですけど、Minister Scarby, could you say a few words, please?
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Italy Pavilion for a very special occasion. First of all, let me thank from the bottom of my heart Mr. Archambault, the CEO of Moleskine, Mr. Sanet, the CEO of Moleskine Foundation, la dottoressa Rossella Zanelli, la curatrice della straordinaria mostra, and of course Andrea Salvadori, who has been the coordinator of this effort, because thanks to them, we are able to enjoy within the Italy Pavilion an extraordinary exhibition, a traveling exhibition that comes to Osaka, to the Expo 2025 Kansai Osaka, inside the Italy Pavilion, after having received enormously successful welcome in New York, in London, in Paris, in Shanghai. So I think we are privileged to have this exhibition, the Detour exhibition, inside our experience. But our partnership with Moleskine goes beyond that. They are one of our main sponsors, they are one of our main partners, and we share a common goal, which I think will be highlighted also in the occasion of this talk, which is to emphasize the importance of creativity in all fields for a better society, for a future where human interactions, human endeavors are reached and are put into the ground through a creative perspective that gives this plus that gets to the eureka moment, to the moment when we can overcome difficulties or problems. But it's also creativity, a tool very much at the core of the empowering of societies, of communities. And actually, this is at the center of the action of the Moleskine Foundation. We will hear more about it right now. So I am very proud to have Moleskine and Moleskine Foundation as our partners. I am very keen to hear to the talks that will take place immediately after. So I don't want to take more of your time. Let me once more welcome all of you to the Italy Pavilion and enjoy the experience. Thank you.
Minister Scarby さん、ありがとうございます。じゃあ、これから、アダマ・クリストフ、ぜひ、ご登場ください。Come up on the stage, guys, please. And Joanna, our moderator for the day. よろしくお願いします。Over to you, Joanna.
Good afternoon, everyone. Buonasera. I'm very happy to welcome you here to the beautiful Italian pavilion at the Expo 2025 in Osaka. To all our esteemed guests today, thank you for joining us. I'm here today with two leaders in the creative field for this very special occasion, being the Travelling Art Exhibition Detour's very first time in Japan. As the moderator today and a design journalist for almost 20 years, I have used a Moleskine book myself, both personally and professionally, and so it's my pleasure to be sitting here with Adama Sanne, the CEO and co-founder of Moleskine Foundation, and Christophe Archambault, the Moleskine CEO. Moleskine is the birthplace of the legendary notebook. This notebook was used by Vincent van Gogh, Ernest Hemingway, and many other, such as Pablo Picasso too. And today it's used by many creative contemporary thinkers. The Moleskine Foundation is an independent organization. It's non-profit, aiming to inspire a new generation of thinkers and doers to inspire their communities. The foundation believes in the power of creativity and quality education, which has been key to tangible, with a strong mission to inspire youth worldwide to make a difference with their communities. Today, we're going to delve all into the Moleskine Foundation and Moleskine, and we're going to delve into the power of creativity and dig deeper into Detour, the exhibition that we're all here today for its very first day and very first time in Japan, in Osaka. There will also be a short Q&A after, so please don't hesitate to ask any questions you'd like. We look forward to hearing from you. Allora, please give Christophe and Adama a very warm welcome. Firstly, benvenuto and yokoso. Welcome to Japan. You've been here now for a few days preparing for the exhibition. How has your week been so far?
Hot.
Yeah, yes.
And exciting.
So shall we start with Detour? Adama, how was it setting up the exhibition, approaching it? It's its first time in Japan. Please tell us more about Detour.
Well, every time we put out a Detour, it's an exciting work. It's because it's a collective work. It's one of the times in which, you know, the soul of the foundation and the soul of the company, you know, we come together as one to create something, an event that actually becomes very tangible and become an experience for people. One thing that I have to say, the tour is the first time in Osaka, but it's not the first time in Japan. In 2009, we brought the tour to Tokyo, you know, with Sando for the first time. And it was and to kind of showcase the process about this the collection, the tour. When we showcased the tour in Omotesando in 2009, the collection had only 200 pieces, and we showcases around 50 pieces. Now the collection has more than 1,600 pieces from all over the world. And this kind of, the idea that a conversation that started actually in 2006 when the collection, you know, was created, now, you know, passing through Japan and passing through like the rest of the world, it continued to become a space, a creativity relay that passed from hands to hands, from paper to paper, from pen to pen. And now you see a selection here in Osaka.
At that time, had you already had some artworks from Japanese artists?
Yeah, we did. So it's interesting because I had, before coming here, I had a chat with Maria Sebregondi, who is the founder and creator of the Moleskine brand. And she was telling me that almost from the beginning, Japan has been one of the strongest inspiration behind the brand. The care for details, the uniqueness and the attention for aesthetic that is never separated for the ethics of it. It's really at the center of what Moleskine is. And so to a certain extent, I think that, you know, maybe the notebook might be a little bit different if it wasn't also for the exchange and relation that the Moleskine founder had with Japan.
And heading back onto Detour again, for this, in your collection, in the Moleskine Foundation collection with all your notebook artworks, you have over 1,600 works. Here on display is 68, and the new artworks by Japanese artists is from Mika Ninagawa and Chiharu Shota. How was it working with these contemporary Japanese artists to create the works?
You know, it's always really such a surprise, because in the end, it's the first things that you have to know is that the collection has been 100% donated. So this means that we had 1,600 gifts, and each gift is an inspiration for another gift. And we are somehow the people that try to hold this together and try to preserve this continuous gift. And so this kind of create, first and foremost, a unique relationship between the artist and the contributor to the collection and us. And we are very privileged in being part of this, especially because it's a relationship that is not transactional. You know, it's not economic. You know, it's a relationship that is truly based on mutual inspiration and creativity. And on top of that, the idea that creativity becomes this unique tool also that we have to then, through the foundation, through the support of the company, an element to transform society for the better. So there is this unique connection and process that connect an artist, the piece that you see out there, the work that we do as an organization, the change and the change makers that are implementing and transforming their communities all over the world. It's all one element. And so to answer briefly to your question, when we give a notebook to an artist, we don't give them any brief. You know, we just say, here it is. You know, do what you want, when you want, by when you want. You know, and so whatever comes back, it's an incredible gift for us, and the excitement every time to the unveiling of what the notebook is. It's unique because it's an intimate exchange. You know, it's something that goes again beyond, you know, a pure element of transactionality. And I think that this type of small elements, this authenticity of the relationship is something that transpire quite a lot from the exhibition, and something that me and Christophe are saying, you know, coming here. One of the things that is every time is so beautiful and emotional for us to see is the engagement of the audience, you know, with the collection. People stay, stop, read, understand, try to get his own connection. And hopefully that is the beginning for an inspiration to create something. So again, this economy of gift, you know, continues.
Yes, and that element of facilitating this creativity, which is core to Moleskine, where you say, unleash your genius. Christophe, can you please tell us a little bit more about Moleskine's foundations and purpose?
Okay. Well, before, I just want to say thank you to you for the hospitality and the support you gave us. It's a pleasure, it's an honor for us to be in the Italian pavilion, and having a neighbor like Leonardo da Vinci or Michelangelo is nice, okay, when you talk about creativity. So thanks a lot to the Italian pavilion. To answer your question, I think we need to go back to the birth of Moleskine and the words of Maya Sabriandi that says, Moleskine is not a notebook, Moleskine is a cultural project. And what it means for us is, what matters is not the notebook that you buy, but is what you do with it. And this is really central to everything we do, because we believe that beside the business, where we have a business to deliver, we also have a social responsibility. And the social responsibility is captured into the sentence, unleash human genius to hands on paper. And that's why in everything we do, excuse me, the weather and the air conditioning kill my voice, so sorry for that. But so in everything we do, we always work those two pillars because we believe that we cannot grow the business if we are not true to our mission. So that's true in the work that we're doing with Adama. Adama, Moleskine Foundation, and the Moleskine company or brand are working against the same objective with different paths, but really this capacity or this mission of letting people, letting everybody, because everybody can use a Moleskine notebook, letting everybody having a chance to express, to unleash their creativity and their thoughts is central to what we do and to who we are.
And so going back on, yes, your very unique relationship together between the Moleskine Foundation and Moleskine, you mentioned earlier that you have such a beautiful long-term relationships akin to being family because you both share the same mission. Adama, can you also share a little bit more about Moleskine Foundation in relation with Moleskine brand?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, when we said family, with Christophe, we were laughing because family can be a beautiful thing, or it can be like, oh my God, here where we have another Sunday that we need to spend. So it's as a dual thing. I think that what we like to say is that we really like, two faces of the same coin. That's kind of the idea, and I think that actually, to be honest, I am very proud of the relationship that we have with the company, not only with the relationship that we have now, but the origin story. Because, normally you would hear the classic story of a company that now have made enough money that in order to, try to avoid certain risk, and for risk management, they create a foundation that can absorb any possible, brand damage and so on and so forth. And then we, and there is this idea of like, I make enough money, so I need to feel responsible, and because I feel responsible, I feel guilty of what I'm doing. And there is this very non-generative, I would say, type of mechanism. In our case, when the brand was created from the beginning, Maria always said, from the beginning, I could have created a company or a foundation from day one. We decided to go for the company and to create tools to enable people to unleash their genius, to unleash their creativity. And then it just happened that right after, staying from the same origin, staying with the same vision, staying with the same values, original values, we had the opportunity to also create the foundation that has the same purpose. We just focus through different tools into working with, and trying to inspire communities, and especially change makers that can inspire and work within communities. All this through creativity. So everything that we do is part from an authentic story, and a story that is made by people. It's relationship, it's conversations. It's, I love the idea of unleashing genius, unleashing your own genius, but thought also as a collective element. We're not just individual as separated from the rest. This is an invention, and I think this pavilion, this beautiful pavilion has been able to capture this idea that we are all connected. Iago's art piece, of the different hearts, that once you combine them all, you have a heart that pulls. This is an idea of connection, of legacy, or something that transcends the self in its own. And I think in a certain way, this is a long way to say that the relationship between Moleskine and Moleskine Foundation comes, from the same heart, and it's keep changing because of all the heart of the people that are working on this cultural project that Christophe was talking about. And that's kind of really what our partnership is about. Everything else, it's about creativity. And when I say it's about creativity, it's about making it happen. We need to really reconnect with the idea that creativity is not something that stays in the hand of few enlightened artists. There is one Michelangelo, there's one Leonardo. No, both Michelangelo and Leonardo, they are people that were trying to solve problems. and they would try to express themselves. And they had the courage to do that. Then some people managed to do it in a certain way, of course, But this is a human feature. This is what we are made of, The idea that creativity is something very practical, And in this practicality, of transformation is where we connect. So besides like all the little bit branding and marketing and philosophical thing that we say we are together, we were born from a same idea, from a same set of values, and now we try to make things work.
So with your mission to encourage the value of creativity, it's perfect through the form of the Moleskine notebook, because as you said, Maria Sebregondi, the founder of Moleskine, you mentioned earlier she was a poet herself. So I was very surprised that she was a poet. And I always loved this quote that she said, that the Moleskine notebook is a book waiting to be written. And so it's such a personal and intimate tool. Christophe, can you tell us why the Moleskine notebook is so treasured? And often kept for many, many years, never thrown away.
I think it is treasured because, as we're saying, the brand is coming from a long heritage. You were mentioning Van Gogh, Hemingway's. I mean, there is a long list of legendary users of Moleskine notebook. And when you write in your notebook, you are part of that community. Not always with the same talent, I agree, but you are part of that community. And that's why it is so treasured, because it brings a sense. I mean, we're talking with Adama, I have a vision which is a bit more intimate on the notebook. Adama has a vision which is more collective. And this, the fact of having it, writing into that, is the two. You connect to a community, you be part of a community, at the same time it is you. That's why I think it is very much treasured, because in that notebook you put your thoughts, your dreams, your fear, sometimes your sins for some of us. But the day you put the holistic back on it, it's private, it is yours. And the beauty of that is you belong to something that is a bigger community, but at the same time, in those pages, it is you that you put inside. And that's why I believe it is so treasured, so valued, because when you go back, and people keep their notebook for years, you go back, and when you open the page, you realize that then the memory comes back about the moment where you started to write. So I think this is why Moleskine is so important, is those two dimensions, which is yourself within a community of many users and many legendary users.
It's so true. The form itself, it makes it such an incredible object with these blank pages. You can express any type of creativity. And I particularly liked in the Detour exhibition, even seeing such radical approaches like this, or the weaving inside. I would never have thought to use blank pages in this way. So it's a very good point.
And it's a reminder. I mean, I think I really want to praise the curation of the Italian pavilion, because I think also the fact that the notebooks stays also in between Michelangelo, Caravaggio, and Leonardo, it's also a reminder for all of us for what we were saying before. Because you come in front of a Michelangelo finished by Bernini, you're like, okay, it's beautiful. You admire. There's a distance. You're just in awe of such an incredible art piece. The same thing happened with Caravaggio, But then there is the element of the notebook that is that in-between space. Doesn't matter if it's Caravaggio, doesn't matter if it's Bernini. At some point, they have to put pen on paper. And at some point, it started from that. And it started with that intimate relationship that exists with this object. And once you see people, and I saw your experience and you arrive to the part of the notebooks, there is the closeness. And I hope that closeness that happened with the object is a reminder that it's about a process. You are part of a process. Then the end, might, if you're very talented, it might come up as a beautiful painting as the one of Caravaggio, or not, but to a certain extent, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because what counts is the process to get there, is that transformation that happened when you do so. And because this is about the ideal city, you know. And the end is ideal city is a city that is in constant transformation, that has the capacity to stay and connect with the people. It's about relationship, as the minister was telling us earlier, you know. And that happens through doing and through having the courage to start from somewhere. Everything else, you know, it's an extra, you know. But there is where that humanity basically become concrete and become a space of exchange.
To have the courage to start and just see where your creativity leads. And that leads me to say that in everyone's tote bags today, there is a Cahiers Moleskine notebook. So please unleash your genius as you like. And so speaking about Moleskine, especially working, as you said, more in a personal sense with your relationship with the notebook, and also Adama, your foundation's role and mission more in a community sense, can you tell us a little bit more about the creativity pioneers?
I mean, creativity pioneers are creative change makers, are people that decided to dedicate their life of transforming their communities and facing some of the big challenges of the world, climate change, democracy, human rights, war, etc., through a creative angle. And our role as a foundation is to remind the world that investing in creativity and in creative people, it's fundamental to transform society. You know, every once in a while, you know, the world start thinking that it's all about numbers and efficiency, you know, and everything is about KPIs, you know, and so on and so forth, you know. And every once in a while, you know, life reminds us that it's not that it's much more, you know. One of the things that I always say is that if you look at the climate change crisis, if it would have been an issue of numbers to solve it, we would have solved the climate change crisis in the early 2000s. We have the data. It's an easy fix. But it's not about data. It's about stories. It's about connection. It's about imagination. You know, and every once in a while we need to remember that the world progresses when creative people are empowered. And I think now more than ever, it is imperative to, I would like to say, to double down on humanity. We live in a moment where technology, you know, the minister actually reminded us earlier, you know, we need to remember, in an ideal city, remember that technology is at service of people, not the other way around. And I was recently in a conference about AI and social impact, you know, and it was very interesting, incredible stuff. To be honest, I had the feeling to be in a Black Mirror episode, you know, for a few days. But at some point, you know, we will keep talking about productivity and efficiency. And so the question I asked to my fellow participant was like, okay, all this productivity, okay, all this efficiency, but all this productivity and efficiency on whose dream? And that is the question. What dream is at the center of our progress? You know, and I think this is really something that we need to put at the center of our agenda. And in order to put this at the center of our agenda, we need to double down on humanity. And double down on humanity means to invest in the most important thing that characterizes the human being, that is creativity. And so our job, in one sentence, is to remind everybody that we need to invest in creativity, and it's important that we embrace this opportunity to do so if we want to create a different collective future.
So it's so true. And as you mentioned, technology. So looking at especially the Moleskine notebook being so physical and human-based, you have to hold and touch it. Christophe, what do you think about digital versus analog and the world we live in today?
Well, it's a big question for us. I think we have been, at the beginning, we're a bit panicking about the growth of digital, and it's going to kill paper. I mean, you open the newspapers and AI will replace all of us. I think we came at peace to that. because we have been thinking about the role or mission, the role of technology, and for us, analog and digital are two aspects of one experience. So let me explain what we have in mind. When you write something, when you go outside and you cut a flower and you put that into your notebook, you will have the touch, the smell, the color. And if you use, one of the products we have called MOLESKINE Smart, where what you write goes on your telephone, then you will have maybe a video, maybe you're going to have the sound of your notebook. So really what we are aiming at is keeping writing at the heart of what we do, but using technology along what Adama was saying, technology is an enabler. So we're going to use technology in our apps to enhance, to provide a different experience, to provide another feeling from the same experience. And that's really the way we go forward. So when we look ahead, we believe there is a space for writing, because if you look around, excess of digital is in every study today, and we see there is a damage. So in a way, writing is a form of detox. So we believe there is a need for it. At the same time, we need to be careful of not living in the past. And we try to give a Moleskine experience that is marrying the beauty of writing and the fact that today every young boy and girl is born with a phone in their hands. Okay? So that's really the way we look, which is building the bridges between the analog experience and the digital experience, bearing in mind that it all starts in your Moleskine notebook.
So speaking of this very personal relationship with the Moleskine and navigating in the digital world, can you both please share a personal experience or memory you have yourselves with a Moleskine notebook?
It's for you. Adama will answer first.
So personal experience with the notebook. We've been doing this job for a long time, so there's
Always have
actually
one in your bag.
I always
or-
have one in my hand.
Oh, okay.
I think so. For many years with the foundation, we run a program that was called At Work, and some of the notebooks that you see in the collection come out of people who participated to this workshop, to this longer cultural program. And it was a program that wanted to directly inspire a new generation of creative thinkers and doers by challenging people, young people, and try to put, their experience into a notebook that then will become an art piece, some of the one that you see there. And we've been all over the world. We've been literally all over the world, engaging thousands and thousands of people and students. And I have to say that, I'm sorry it's a bit generic, but from my perspective, the really unique experience is that how all this process was always the same tool, the same starting point, the same point of connection, similar discussions, similar prompts, and so on and so forth. And every time each output was completely different from the other one and unique. And I think that I cannot really stress more how fundamental this is for the world. In a moment where technology, when it's out of control, tends to homologate us in every time, tend to put them in clusters are always bigger, and the more we stay within certain parameters, the better it is. This notebook and the exercises that I had the pleasure to witness and to be part of, it's a reminder of the uniqueness of human creativity in each one of us. Just the other day, I was reading an interview of Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's a famous physicist, and he was stressing out the importance, as a physicist, the importance of creativity. I was making this example and I say, if tomorrow, you take out every book of science that's ever been written, that will be written again in the same way. At some point, it will be written again in the same way. If you take out all the art of the world, it doesn't matter at which level, none of this will be recreated. Because each one, it's the unique representation of a specific sensitivity in a specific moment that is by definition irreplicable. And this, it's really something that in this specific moment, in this specific era, it has to be the priority, in our mind on how we interpret our life as individuals and how we interpret our life as leaders, as communities and as government and organizations. It's a reminder that humans has to be at the center, and their creativity is at the center of and is the engine through which we build our life. And so it is such a, how can I say, a tangible sensation that every time I see the collection, but every time I go through the memory lane of these experiences, and every time that for the first time, you have your notebook and you open up for the first time, and you're like, this is a new story. Whatever it is, a new story, and it's a unique story,
Yeah,
Okay, Christophe, do better than that.
No.
Thank you for the challenge. I think for me, I have a very intimate relationship with my notebook. And it is a healthy routine that every day I write on it. It's a way for me to dump my bad temper from time to time, ideas, thought, and that's really I take every day, I take at least 15 minutes a day to step down, to slow down, get rid of the phone, get rid of everything, and write what comes to my mind on my notebook. Now, to the point that it's very intimate, I have an anecdote that probably the audience below 50 will not capture, because when I was young, there was no mobile phone. I know for some of you it's a vision of horror. And then I was about to meet who will become my wife, and the only way I could meet with that person is to tear off a page of my notebook and write the phone of my parents, which is, if you have to don't do that. It's not a great idea to write the numbers of your parents, but at the time that was the only way I could get in contact. So that's why for me it's very intimate. It's really my companion. I always have it next to me because I never know when something will come and I need to write it down.
And a wonderful way to meet someone new, whether it's a future partner or a friend, use paper, not digital. And also, going back to Moleskine, you're almost celebrating 30 years of the company's history. What is the future like? How do you see the future for Moleskine?
We are, the economic environment is not fun, I have to say. We know what's going on the other side of the ocean, but we are confident and we believe that the future will come by being true to the heritage and the mission of the brand. So really, there are two elements that are driving us. One is that one, which is being true to our mission, but again, live into our time. So that's why we keep innovating on the paper, on the format, on the collaboration of what we do to be in tune with today's world, but always true to unleash your human genius to hands on paper. So that is for us the most important. And the second one is the one I was talking at the beginning, which is you cannot do business if you don't deliver on your social responsibility. And for us, the future is on those two dimensions, which is be true to your heritage, be true to your mission, but again, in a modern way, while at the same time, business without social responsibility cannot be delivered.
And then also, Adama, can you please tell us about the Foundation Scholarship Program?
Well, we have many scholarship programs. I think...
Is there one coming up in Japan? No, okay.
Where's Nick? Okay,
okay, no worries. No, but what's the future for the foundation for you?
There's no one specific for Japan. There's global that we do every year. we have created this program. It's called the Creativity Pioneers Fund, and it's a fund that wants to support economically and bring together creative change makers at the global level. In the last 3 years, we received more than 7,000 applications from 150 countries, and this kind of tells about the scope, the richness of all the creative solutions that are out there to try to make our world a little bit better than what it is now. And so we're gonna continue with that. We're gonna continue with honoring our purpose and mission, and understanding that once you're in the work, as I was saying before, that something that happened at individual level, it also happened as an organization. When you stay in the process, in the creative process, some of the things that often we forget, that creativity is based on listening. It's a listening exercise. It's about listening yourself. It's about listening your surroundings. It's about listening the other, you know. And so, as a listening process, we continue with this creative endeavor, and that is continually transforming ourselves, you know. And so, I know strategically where we're going, but I don't know in which way this continuous transformation is gonna bring us.
Thank you very much. So now we're going to take it over to the audience. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask Christoph and Adama directly? Please raise your hand if you've got a question for them.
.さっきアダマさんからアーティストさんとのそのコラボレーションのプロセスの話がさっきアダマさんから各アーティストとのそのコラボレーションのプロセスの話あったと思うんですけど、さっき作品を見てみるとかなり作品によって形が随分違っていて、ページ数も違っていて、通常お店で買えるようなモレスキンとはまた形がすごい違ってたんですけど、それは各アーティストさんからのリクエストがあってこういう形を新しく作ったんでしょうか。どのようにこの形になっていくまでプロセスがあったか教えていただけますか。
Nick, we forgot our earphones on the seat. Can you please translate?
Or you can say in English. No, he can say in English. You can say in English. Please repeat it in English.
It's about how you collaborated with the artist, each and every artist, the process. You talked about the process, but I was wondering. It all looks the difference with different pages, number of pages, different like format. How did it go? Like, is it the personal order, or is it you have selection of like formats, or how did it work?
It's literally a open canvas. We just give. So practically what happened is that either an artist decide to donate a piece and to create a piece, or we ask him or her to be in conversation with us. And they can decide to do whatever they want. But I think the beautiful thing is that, again, is the element of this creativity relay, because many of the artists are also inspired by the collection. So it's now it's interesting to see how that continuous dialogue that started in 2006, is continuing. And so on a very practical level, the way it works is that it's like, you want to do a notebook? Yeah? here you are, you know, and then we wait for the answer, and that's how it goes, and that's how, you know, the notebooks are created. And at the same time, through the foundation, we run programs and we support organizations that then we ask them, would you like to create a notebook, you know? And I think, in a nutshell, what I think it is that the collection showcased really our definition of creativity. And the idea is that creativity is something that lays in the hand of anyone who use his or her own sensitivity and experience in a transformative way. And that transformation, again, it's unique, and it's embodied in what you're seeing out there.
Over there on the right, with the beautiful floral top.
Hi, I must make a confession. I'm actually a friend of Christophe and Adama. But just flew in this morning from Hong Kong to really looking forward to seeing the exhibition. But my first question is to Christophe. I think we know the brand very well, and I have been a user and lover of the brand since 1999. And I just want to share a piece of information I think is very relevant to the expo today, hosted in Osaka, and also to the audience here. It's just by chance, 1 month ago, I visited the expo, and I was very lucky. I was toured by Fujimoto Shou-san. He is the architect of the ring, who the planner of this, such a structure and such an event of today. My gift to him is the notebook of the notebook, and which was made in 2022. If you remember the Kosuke, Tsumura-san, the Japanese fashion designer, and his concept was final home. And Fujimoto-san was very touched. It was immediately in love with the notebook, and he told me he has been a lover and user of a notebook since decades. So you see, not only just artists, but also architect. And I'm sure many other businessmen and women, they're also lover of such a notebook. The memory, the creativity, you know, the business, the day-to-day details are very organized in such a, you know, magic, a handy object. So that's just the, you know, information to share with you that, you know, I think you should go to him. I would make the introduction, and we have to work with him.
No, but I think thanks a lot.
Okay.
And I'll be happy to.
Thank you. And my question to you is that, you know, the notebook today, when we look at it, especially entering Moleskine store, is not only just stationery anymore, it's very fashionable. It's a piece of something that people buy, might not using it, maybe just become a piece of decoration on the shelf. So my question would be, under your leadership, I think there always a boundary between if this is a culture brand or a luxury brand or luxury cultural brand, you see. So which way do you lean towards, or how do you feel about, because I think all Italian brands are favored globally. As a stationery brand, how do you see this brand, you know, coming through in the next 5-10 years, and how do you position it in Japan and China and Asia? That would be my question. Thank you.
Your questions, right? Well, first, thank you, and I'll be very happy to have that connection. I think you're making a very important point. We tend to associate creativity with art, but there is creativity into mathematics, there is creativity into literature, there is creativity into cooking, there is creativity into architecture, there is creativity into many fields. And I think, linked to your second question, which is where do we see the future, we have been thinking a lot about are we a luxury brand or not, and we're coming to the conclusion that we don't see ourselves as a luxury brand, we see ourselves as a precious brand. And the distinction is coming from the fact that what is precious is precious to you. And what matters is the relationship you're going to create between you and this notebook. And that's really where we want to put the focus for the years to come, is working with architect, working with chief, working with on how writing helps them to develop their creativity. And how do we work the content of the notebook more than the outside of the notebook? There will always be limited edition. Now, there is no, but more and more what we want to see is we see ourselves timeless. This is a design icon, and this has to remain a design icon. So we are really looking into, and the collaboration that we try to develop is trying to understand. I mean, Adama was saying that creativity is listening. Is really trying to sit and listen and say, how writing helps you to be creative, and how can I pass that to someone else and help this someone else to be creative. So we will, as I said, we'll continue to develop a limited edition. I mean, a couple of them going in. But the most important point is that we don't see ourselves as luxury. We don't see ourselves as fashionable. We see ourselves as precious in the way that we're going to be helping you to develop what is here, because this is what is most precious to you. So that's a bit of where we're thinking for the years to come.
And then going back on collaborators, how do you choose your partnerships or collaborations for the iconic Moleskine legendary notebook?
I think there are, and I'll be back to the question Francis was asking, and the answer, which is we choose our collaboration in the way that will help us to pass the message. So if I give you an example of the one that now is public, we're going to be launching in a couple of days, which is the new partnership with the Musée d'Orsay in Paris about Impressionism. The work we've done with the curator of Musée d'Orsay is not about the cover, it's about what was Impressionism and how Impressionism has been helping artists to go beyond. You were talking about risk-taking, okay? To go beyond what was accepted at the time. And our collection is Impression of Impressionism. So don't expect to see the cover of a Monet on a Moleskine notebook, because what matters to us is what is the concept behind. We're talking about the creative transformation. And so we choose our partners in basically two domains. One is art and culture, because this is natural connection for Moleskine. The other one is education, and that's why we connected, we collaborated with Osaka University of Art, and always with that dimension of how can we help people to transform creatively what they have in their mind. So that's the way we select our partners. That's why we launch far less than in the past, because we want to do that in-depth work that will help a Moleskine fan, a Moleskine lover, to be even more creative, to get a better memory, and so on and so forth.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? Okay.
Thank you for the great conversation. So my question is about the exhibition editor. So, like you said, this is a special, unique situation for the exhibition with Da Vinci, Caravaggio, Michelangelo. So my question is about how did you curate? So what was your point, pause of curation for this exhibition in Japan, in Osaka, in Expo?
Well, yeah, no, it's obviously it's about the pavilion. Is not us. So like, and this is one of the places we cannot take this. And I think if you want to answer part of that, I think it's a great occasion to do so. Regarding our part. We had two elements here that for us, for the part of the notebooks, was very important. The first thing is to respond to the theme of the pavilion, this idea that art regenerate life, and I think this is something that is a language that is very close to us, and is a language that connects to us, and in a way. each notebook is this idea of regeneration. You know, it's this idea of giving birth, rethinking, you know, reworking on it. It's a constant relay of creativity. So it's something that was very close to us, and I think it worked beautifully. It was like, okay, yeah, this is exactly what we work on. And the second thing is to I think to celebrate the relationship that exists between Italy and Japan. You know, the pavilion does that, and really historically in the collection of the Moleskine Foundation and the notebooks, you know, one of the first contributors were Japanese, and again, even before the collection started, the relationship between, you know, Japanese designers and creatives and the brand was extremely close. To a certain extent, it was one of the first. Collaboration in which two people were speaking the same language in a certain way, the same creative language to a certain extent. And so this wanted to be this celebration. And I think it's, thank you also before, Christophe, to remind us all that the collection is not about artists, you know, it's about designer, chefs, writers, architects, you know, noses, pilots, you know, you name it. And I think that the incredible community of creatives that now is part of Japanese creative that now is part of the collection really has been one of the engine, you know, that is behind, you know, the uniqueness of this collection. So theme very much connected, and, you know, the celebration of a true authentic relationship that is happening in the case of the collection since 2006.
And as you, the question earlier as well, it's quite extraordinary that these artists and creatives, you give them the blank canvas and then they create the artwork, but they entrust you to look after and cherish this artwork. And I've heard that your collection of artworks are now amassed at 1,600, and they're preserved and really looked after in a space in Milan that's temperature controlled. And it sounded like a bit like preserving wine to me. It's in a cave, or can you tell us a little bit about how you look after the collection very quickly? And also, will you ever find a permanent location? Because it's been traveling to all the major cities. Now you've reached Osaka. And so, yeah, will you continue traveling, or are you looking for a permanent location?
Well, it's not either or. I think we're gonna keep traveling, and I think we are more and more interested in figure out how to have a permanent location to showcase the collection, potentially even in multiple places. I mean, this is a very global story. This is extremely local and extremely global at the same time, and I think you know, it is our responsibility and desires together, you know, with Christophe to figure out how we can showcase the collection in the best way possible, while we continue to preserve it with the maximum care, because there's nothing more important than a gift. You know, there's really nothing more important than a gift, and so it is really our responsibility and honor to do everything that we can to maintain this unique story, this unique, you know, group of stories that is the collection.
Sounds like the responsibility, you're looking after it very well. Well, thank you for everyone. It's been a wonderful evening here at the Italian Pavilion, celebrating Detour in Osaka. Thank you to our speakers, Christophe and Adama, and thank you to all for the really wonderful conversation. Thank you today. Of course, thank you to the Detour artists that continue to inspire everyone, and also a big grazie mille for everyone today for coming and joining us. It was very wonderful to have you. And so hopefully with this message, let creativity continue to inform and inspire the world. And please take your notebooks and unleash your genius. Thank you. Grazie.
Hi, 皆さん、ありがとうございます。一旦、ここで、開場しますんで、6時半から、3階のイタリで、パーティー行いますんで、後ほどよろしくお願いいたします。で、ちょっと早めに終わってるんで、イタリさんが、テラスの方で、飲み物を用意してくれてるんで、サンセットドリンクでも、6時から、結構ですので、無事明けに、3階に、行ってください。と、プレスの皆さんだけ、ここに残っていただいて、実は、大阪、芸術大学のアワードセレモニー、これから行いますが、ちょっと、この部屋がキャパオーバーになってしまっているので、学生さんたちを優先に、入っていただきますので、よろしくお願いします。ありがとうございます。と、この3人さん、ありがとうございます。